So today we planned a demo which explains how we can prepare a blueprint for group reporting. So this particular demo covers blueprint which is relevant to S4HANA business consolidations with group reporting solution. As you know, using group reporting solution, we can do the legal consolidation. So this demo mainly designed, if you want to understand how to prepare this particular blueprint, if you have at least one project implementation experience in legal consolidation, that may be in BPC or any other SAP product, legal consolidation experience, if you have one project implementation, it will be good. And target audience for this particular demo: solution architects, FSCO consultants, group reporting people who knows configuration, real-time consolidation, and BPC consolidation, relevant people. So first, let's discuss in the blueprint. First, we need to add about master data. When we are talking about master data, first we have to understand finance structure. When I say finance structure, so you need to understand how many legal entities available at your customer side. In those legal entities, how many SAP units, how many non-SAP units. So total, let's say total 20 legal entities, 10 from SAP, 10 from non-SAP, right? You can mention that point in your blueprint. And also, when you are mentioning this point, the source of this master data. Source of this master data in the sense, when it is SAP entity, the source is ACDOC table. When it is non-SAP entity, the source is a CSV file. Remember, this you should be clear. You are talking about on-premise group reporting version. So mention this is applicable for on-premise group reporting, S4HANA on-premise group reporting. So SAP units, ACDOC table, non-SAP units, CSV file. And also mention
small clarification, how it will be different from the cloud one?
Cloud one only, that is maintained by SAP itself. Correct. So they will give you some information. Let's say they will share some some Excel files, or they will give some apps where you have to input your financial statement items, master data. They will give you for the cloud. But on-premise, you are the person who are going to implement. So business requirements you have to gather. Right. Cloud is already configured. It's maintained by SAP. Now,
whatever cloud also.
Let's on-premise version. We will come to cloud version.
Okay.
Right. So let's complete the on-premise version. So this entire course is designed for on-premise version. Cloud will discuss after we complete this particular on-premise blueprint discussion. So understand the group chart of accounts. Right. So second point, understand the group chart of accounts is basically you have SAP units, non-SAP units. Both will have different operational chart of accounts. Might be your SAP units using 2-3 operational chart of accounts. Non-SAP units are using their own operational chart of accounts. So define one consolidation chart of accounts which is called as group chart of accounts. In that group chart of accounts, right, mention this is common chart of accounts for SAP and non-SAP, and also how the mapping between operational chart of accounts and group chart of accounts maintained in the system. So you take the Excel file which is given by SAP. You can download from import mappings, operational chart of accounts mapping to group chart of accounts. There is an Excel file. You can insert that file in the document, and in that just give some description. Right. For example, if I have 3 operational chart of accounts, YCOA, INA, CNA, like that, 3 chart of accounts, operational chart of accounts for my SAP units, and how the mapping should be done. So each and every, so all the sales accounts from my SAP units will be mapped to one FS item called sales. So how the mapping happens, explain that. Give the template. Now, what about the non-SAP units, right? So non-SAP units, currently non-premise, you have to get the data from against the financial statement items. Financial statement item in the sense group chart of account. Next thing, transaction type and trading partners. This is another master data required. When we are talking about transaction type, we are talking about consolidation transaction type. First, you should understand what is consolidation transaction type. You should be explaining what is consolidation transaction type to the customer. Consolidation transaction type, yeah, opening balance, increase, decrease. If you want to track your currency translation difference, separate transaction type, yeah. And also, you have to mention when SAP units are moving from ACDOC A to ACDOC U, how the mapping is maintained, transaction type mapping is maintained. What I meant by transaction type mapping? If you see assets transaction, in FI basically they will have asset transaction type. But in consolidation group reporting, we are going to use consolidation transaction type. So there is a table from SPRO, you can get that particular mapping, how the transaction types are mapped to consolidation transaction type. There is a table in SPRO. You can just, I will show you in the next sessions. So from there you take that particular list and you put it in this particular document. Other than that, any other transactions types maintained by SAP, not SAP, by the customer. So you just include those transaction types and what is the consolidation transaction type you want to map when you are moving from ACDOC A to ACDOC U table. That you have to mention. Transaction type, and also you have to mention transaction type is mandatory for legal consolidation project, because when the customer wants cash flow, the cash flow happens based on the movements, based on the transaction type movements in the balance sheet. That's what transaction type is mandatory. So we are not going to, suppose if you want to discuss like if transaction type is not available at the customer place, customer system. So what is the solution? That is not part of group reporting. So that becomes FI process. Yeah, you just tell them like you just add a note or something like if transaction type is not available, it should be separately discussed and resolved. You have to resolve that particular point. Next thing, trading partner. This master data should be there. So when any intercompany transaction, that should come with trading partner. If trading partner is not available, you cannot execute intercompany matching application or intercompany elimination in group reporting. So if trading partner is available, that's okay. So we are going to maintain the trading partner in the group reporting. If trading partner is not available, right, you just add a note in the blueprint that trading partner should be available. It's also a FI process, as you know, right? So they have to enable that trading partner. If trading partner, they might come up with so many questions, but the thing is, group reporting is designed such a way that intercompany eliminations or intercompany matching should happen based on the trading partner. Without trading partner, how system knows like it's an intercompany transaction or third party transaction. Yeah, that's the point. So trading partner is mandatory for intercompany transaction. Next thing, yeah, any questions?
Intercompany matching is that are we going to do it in the group reporting itself, or it's in FI model we have it's available in different tools? Have any idea on that?
Correct. That is the same tool. So when SAP delivered intercompany matching, they have delivered for FI and group reporting two solutions. First, so FI solution reads data from ACDoc S, group reporting solution reads data from ACDoc U table.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Now, additional master data fields required, like profit center, segment, whatever additional master data you need in the C. By default, you can list out period, fiscal year period, consolidation unit, consolidation ledger, consolidation chart of accounts. These are required. Financial statement data. Yeah. With that, if your customer wants some more details for management consolidation or some other purpose, reporting purpose, like profit center, segment, business area kind of stuff, you just add those additional master data fields what your customer is expecting in the group reporting. List out those. Then list out group currency. What are the group currencies your customer expecting? So for my 20 entities, there might be different currencies. Some are US companies, some are Canada companies, some are India companies. So list out group currencies required. They might be having many, like 2-3 groups, consolidation groups, or it's not necessary that 2-3 they can have n number of groups, not at all a problem. So case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4, like that, they can create a number of groups, not an issue. So list out the currencies. So list out the consolidation groups and list out the group currency. For that consolidation group, what is the group currencies? Group currency is required. As you know, group currency and ledger, both together, ledger in the sense FI ledger, both together we call it as consolidation ledger. So what are the accounting standards your customer want to implement, like IFRS, US GAAP or UK GAAP? Yeah, that you have to mention. And what is the ledger you are going to use? FI ledger you are going to use for IFRS. What is the FI ledger you want to use for US GAAP? If the same ledger, you mention the same ledger, but if the same currency, mention the same currency. So if the ledger and currency both are same, if ledger and currency both are same, because you know the ledger and currency combination will create the consolidation ledger. So how many ledgers you want? If ledger and currency you can maintain 2 separate versions for IFRS and US GAAP, you can use same consolidation ledger. If they want multiple group currencies, then you have to create the multiple consolidation ledgers. Yeah, this is the point you have to mention. You have to clearly understand customer requirement and you have to understand how many consolidation ledgers required. So consolidation ledger is basically FI and currency combination, group currency combination.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Where do you create the consolidation ledgers if the customer wants more than one? Where would you do that? Would you do it in FI?
No. Consolidation ledgers are created in group reporting. Right. So now there is master data, right? In SPRO there is master data. Okay, there we are going to create. We already discussed this one, if you remember. How to create that we will discuss in the next sessions.
But can I ask a question? So,
yep.
Like you mean, like last time that the question that I had, if one group has multiple currency, for me to be able to maintain this group currency, so I need to create another version. And this
another ledger. See, IFRS. So, for example, you have 2 versions: IFRS version, US GAAP version. These are the 2 versions, right? Both the versions want group currencies USD, and their FI ledger is leading ledger, right? So if this is FI ledger, this is FI ledger, this is group currency, these are the 2 versions, right? So then they need only one consolidation ledger.
But here, if the requirement is that IFRS, because assume they're in regional here, normally in Asia that we have done this case as we have many currency compared to Europe. Example here we have SGD and USD for IFRS.
Correct. Then 2 ledgers you have to create. Two
ledger and 2 versions.
2 consolidation ledgers you have to create for IFRS. See, FI ledger plus USD 1 consolidation ledger, right? Because here group currency is USD, and FI ledger 0L plus SGD, one more ledger.
Yeah, and the Persian as well, is it?
And
the Persian as well.
version not required. Version is IFRS version only. So version is IFRS version. So these two both together we call it as consolidation ledger. One consolidation ledger for USD, another consolidation ledger for SGD.
But in the group itself, I only can, if it is tagged to one consolidation ledger, I only can maintain one currency. So like last time you mentioned, I need to create a new version, so I could use a new currency or new consolidation ledger with different currency.
You have to use new consolidation ledger with a different currency. Version can be same.
Version can be same for the same consolidation group.
Same consolidation group, correct.
But when
consolidation, that's what we were discussing. If you remember, this group IFRS, whatever is there, yeah, this version, consolidation group is specific to IFRS. Group is specific to version.
Yes, but the currency, I have two currency now for this group. Correct. Because the user would like to analyze in their local group currency before going to the holding currency.
So what you were saying, consolidation group, one group is there, they want in USD.
Yeah, and one maybe is SGD.
Consolidation group is there.
Yeah, it's also SGD, the same consolidation group.
Yeah. So when you are selecting the global parameters, right? So what I said, this is consolidation ledger 1, this is consolidation ledger 2, right? Yes. When you are selecting the global parameters, right? So now I want to do the consolidation in the group currency USD. Then I will select the version as IFRS, ledger as C1. Yes. When I want to do the SGD, right, I will select the version as IFRS, this is C2.
But for me to be able to even define the master data in my consolidation group here, row 40 and 41, I need to have a new version, isn't it? Because if I use USD and SGD, it will be replaced.
Correct. So we have to check different options available there. That should be documented. Yeah, you are right. Yeah, so we will see that.
Okay.
Now next thing is, so here you define the ownership structure also. Ownership structure in the sense, what are the groups, right? Let's say CG1, CG2, CG3, and what are the entities under CG1, Germany and France, CG2, US and Canada, like that. So list out all the groups required for your consolidation, and in that groups, what are the entities are available, consolidation units are available. Also mention the method, because when we are creating consolidation group, we need method also, like whether which is the holding company, whether it is using purchase method or equity method. The method also we have to mention in this particular ownership structure. Yeah. Then
Kiran, one quick question.
Yeah.
Regarding the IFRS and US GAAP, the ledger will be different, right? The variation of accounts will be different for IFRS and US GAAP. So in that sense, you will need two different consolidation ledgers for these two, right?
Here, this is your decision. See, two ledgers are not required. I can see whether that may be IFRS and US GAAP. I want to use the same financial statement items. Financial statement items in the sense group chart of accounts, right?
Generally, the variation of accounts happen, right, in these two. Otherwise, it will be the same.
Correct. See, variation accounts in the sense, for example, I have 100 financial statement items, or correct. In that, 98 belongs to IFRS, correct. 100 belongs to US GAAP. So yeah, the difference is two accounts, right? I can create different hierarchies for my reporting purpose. IFRS, whatever balance sheet I prepared, whatever P&L I prepared, that hierarchy, I don't include those two financial statement items which are applicable for US GAAP.
Okay, so
right.
So in a clever way of doing is that within the hierarchies you eliminate or add those FS items and without creating one more consolidation ledger.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yep.
So for clarity purposes, you could use the same version for both currencies, USD and IFRS in this example.
Can you repeat? Sorry.
If for clarity purposes, in this example, you could use the same version for both USD and IFRS, but it's pointing to two separate ledgers when you're selecting your parameter selection.
Correct. You might have two separate ledgers, but the version is same.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
So then consolidation frequency, right? So monthly consolidation or every quarter you want, every year you want. So you discuss with your customer, just all the things are possible. See, how it happens, monthly consolidation means you have to select January, February, March, April, like that, the period. If it is quarterly consolidation, March, June, I'm talking about, I mean, I have taken calendar year, March, June, September, December, like that. Yearly ones means, yearly consolidation means every December. Now, the next point, so till here, yeah, we are talking about the master data. So the main stress here will be financial statement items, as you know, like, so you have to, you should be careful here when you are describing your group chart of accounts, right? How many operational chart of accounts and how you are going to map to group chart of accounts or financial statement items, that you have to discuss, and mapping file you have to mention, and you have to list out, right, final financial statement items, right? So list out, or you can put it in an Excel and you can add that one in the particular blueprint, right? So many times what happens at the blueprint time, your financial statement item mapping will not be available. So only sample, like, what are the naming conventions? So for example, financial statement items. So you can talk with your customer and you can say 1 star you want to maintain assets, 2 star you want to maintain as liabilities, 3 star you want to maintain as equity, yeah, expenses, income, what is the naming convention you want to maintain. So those points you can add, because blueprint time it will be difficult to have all the list of financial statement items. So next thing is consolidation frequency. We discussed balance carry forward. So the point, say balance carry forward, what we know, closing balances are carry forwarded to next year as opening balance. So here you just mention like the opening balances you can see against period 0, right? This is one point you just add. Everyone knows, like, only balance sheet items you can carry forward, and you just specify the accounts which will change when you are carry forwarding. So what I mean here, your source, when you are doing your closing, yeah, like when you are moving your closing balances as opening balance, in December 2012, December 2019, net income account is there. So net income balance sheet, for example, balance sheet net income. When it is moving to next year, it should be moved to retained earnings, balance sheet retained earnings, right? Same way, any non-controlling interest relevant balance sheet item, net income, that should be moving as NCI retained earnings part, right? So any accounts, any FS item changing their number, that you have to you can discuss with them, and you can if you can note it down. Otherwise, you can just mention like net income will be moved to retained earnings, NCI net income will be moved to retained earnings. That points you can mention, and also mention it goes to 0 period. And also, you know, SAP data, it is ACTQ table. You can have periodic data. YTD data means, suppose March, if you want to see the YTD, 0 period opening balance plus January movement, February movements plus March month. Yeah, that also you can explain here. Next, every period. So these are all entity calculation. Yeah.
Can I check something? If when we post the consolidation journal, so does it mean we need to run this retained earning calculation again, or we could do like automation there?
That I am explaining here, manual group journal entries. So I am running the net income calculation. So after that, if I post any manual group journal entries, what we have to do, that I am adding here itself.
Oh, step 8. Okay. Step 7.
Right. So next, the important thing is net income calculations. Once the data is collected. So also a very one point we have to add here, how the data collection happens. Right. So at the data collection point here before the balance carry forward. Data collection. So remember here you have to add the point in this particular head you have to add for SAP units how the data release process happens. So ACDoc A table data will be moved to ACDoc U table. Yeah, you tell them like in the ACDoc A operational chart of accounts whatever data is there against the company code that will be moved to ACDoc U against the financial statement items. Yeah. And consolidation units. That I mean theoretically you can add one point data collection. So ACDoc for the SAP units the data will be collected from the ACDoc A table. That's the point you have to note. For non-SAP units you have to load the data via CSV files. So the CSV file should come with financial statement item. So remember here you have to mention the CSV file should come from CSV files should come with FSI. It's not like that CSV file they will share it with operational chart of accounts later somewhere you have to maintain table. So that is not a standard point. Yeah, standard functionality. So for that you have to now again you have to do something else, some workaround or something you have to do. But in the blueprint we will add the standard functionality. Any gaps later you can check. Balance carry forward, then net income calculation. So step 9. See net income, when the net income system calculates, remember the net income hits your P&L. So system calculates the net income based on your expenses and income, and it updates the net income P&L account, net income balance sheet account, right? So net income P&L account, net income balance sheet. So with that, what we have to understand, you have to identify one net income account in P&L, physical account, physical financial statement item, and also for the same net income, what is the balance sheet net income account. That also you have to identify. Create. So that you have to mention. Manual group journal entries. So there is an option after net income calculation. These are all entity level, you know, right? Balance carry forward, data collection on net income. All these are consolidation unit level or entity level. It happens. So these are your documentation. So now manual group journal entries. When you are doing manual group journal entries, valid point one of the participants asked. So now I calculated the net income. If I post a balance sheet entry, for example, both the legs are in the balance sheet. My debit and credit both are there in the balance sheet. Then there is no impact on my net income. Correct? If my debit and credit both are impacting my balance sheet, so that then no problem, I can post that entry. Now when I am posting an entry, one leg is in P&L, other leg in balance sheet. Then what I have to do? So here you have to adjust the net income. You have to adjust the net income, and also there will be a tax portion. Correct? Tax to be adjusted. So here you have to mention we have one configuration item which automatically impacts your net income and deferred taxes. That entry, one sample entry, you can add it here. right? I have not explained in the session. In the next sessions, we are going to talk about manual group journal entries. There I will tell you, when you post a manual group journal entry, how system is going to adjust the net income and deferred taxes based on which tax percentage. That way I am going to explain that. You can add it here. Next thing, reclassification entries. Manual group journal entries are nothing. Those are not posted every month. I mean, whenever you find some disturbances, at that time the customer will post. But reclassification, also a type of group journal entry. However, it happens every month. Sometimes what happens, at entity level, at consolidation unit level, you are getting data against gain on asset sale. So consolidation unit gets data against the FS item or against the FS item, gain on asset sale. But in the group reports, you want to show that one as other income, right? So from the gain on asset sale, it should it should move to other income. It is every month system should do. At that time, you can use reclassification entries. So you have to discuss, or you have to identify what are the reclassification entries, automated entries every month, right? So that you have to list out here. Automatic adjustments every month. This you can create reclassification. Yeah, one method you can create. You can add this one. How to do this one? We are going to discuss. So next thing, validations. Yeah, validations are like whatever data you collected from the entities, as we discussed yesterday. So you can give 2-3 validations. Assets equal to liabilities plus equity. This is one validation, right? So you can say validation rules. Assets means the accounts which are starting with 1 star. Liabilities means the accounts which are starting with 2 star. Equity means 3 star. Whatever naming convention is there, right? And also you can add one more validation. Net income should be equivalent to balance sheet net income. Also you can add some accumulated depreciation should be less than your assets value. So 1, 2, 3 validations per sample you can add. Okay, later if they want more, they can directly configure in the system. Now the next important point, any product you have validations, the same concept applicable here. Next important point you have to mention, currency translation, P&L and balance sheet. Yeah, remember here, when you are talking about currency translation, all the points you have to mention, all the points in the sense, when I am talking about P&L, all P&L expense accounts, right? All P&L income accounts. So P&L uses average rate, average formula, and how the difference goes to a separate account. Okay, currency translation difference, separate account. Yeah, you can move to separate account. So same way, net income, you calculate net income, you can calculate the difference goes to one of the account. Currency translation account, difference account or adjustment account. Same way, when you are talking about balance sheet, I'm going to explain. There are 2 things, non-historical items, historical items. Historical items like investment in subsidiaries, share capital, equity. So how you are going to translate these accounts, right? So for historical accounts, what we are going to do, the currency translation difference, we are going to move it to the separate account with a separate flow, separate transaction type, or separate you say sub item, we call it as here. So that point you have to note down. For non-historical account, in the same account, for example, account receivable, the currency translation difference goes to the same account with a separate flow. Those points you have to add. We are going to discuss this one detailedly at that time. Once you understand the product, those points you can add. But the point to be added, currency translation to be discussed in the blueprint. how it's going to be handled for non-historical accounts, historical accounts, P&L accounts, retained earning account, net income account. These things. Next thing, step 5, SAP introduced, as you know, 1909 intercompany matching and reconciliation application. So it's not it's optional for me, because intercompany matching and reconciliation is not part of legal consolidation. That is outside. You can do that. The customer can do outside. So if you want, you can add these intercompany matching and reconciliation relevant that particular topic. So what are the methods we are going to create? What are the reconciliation cases we are going to create? And here, what are the financial statement items you are going to match, right? So for example, intercompany accounts payable, you are matching with account receivable. This is one pair. Like that, you have to understand what are the pairs and what are the leading units and what are the partner units. So once we discuss this particular chapter, then this thing, then you will get one idea on that. Then you have to add intercompany eliminations and matrix eliminations, right? Once the intercompany matching is done, now intercompany elimination means all the intercompany transactions should be eliminated. So how the two-sided elimination going to happen, how the one-sided elimination going to happen, right? So there are two things given in group reporting. Two-sided means, let's say accounts payable, account receivable. Both the sides, like partner unit and leading unit and partner unit, both will have trading partner in their transactions. That is called two-sided elimination. Sometimes what happens, one side they post against the trading partner, other side they don't post with the trading partner, like sales and COGS, right? At that time, how to handle one-sided elimination, how it is going to happen. So that you have to add it here. 1-2 examples if you add, that is sufficient. I'm going to explain those in the session. Next thing, very important thing, consolidation of investments, right? So when we are talking about consolidation of investments, in the group reporting, we are going to use reclassification methods for the consolidation of investments. So the method is not important in this BBP, right? So how the investment elimination happens, right? How the capital elimination is going to happen. See, everyone knows, if you are a finance guy, you know what are the entries to be passed, but how the system is going to, how the method is created, right? So if you want to post, for example, when I want to calculate the goodwill, right? So I have to take my investment to the subsidiary, I have to take my share capital, whatever is percentage of investment. Based on the difference becomes the goodwill. So this type of calculation also, how the system is going to do, you have to add it in this particular area, consolidation of investments. So in this part, in this particular consolidation of investment part, you have to add how the minority is calculated, how the goodwill is calculated, how the capital elimination is going to happen, how the investment is going to happen. So the detailed discussion we are going to have on this, so you can just add that for those points here in this particular area. So the last point, yeah, reports. Now there is something called reporting rules here in group reporting. We have to touch these reporting rules. There are, so I need to create cash flow, I need to create changes in equity, I need to create comprehensive income reports. There is a table called reporting rule here. So what are the FS items you need, or reporting items for cash flow being required? So what are the cash flow items? What are the changes in equity items? What are the consolidation comprehensive income accounts we need? And where you are going to maintain all these accounts or all these report items you are going to maintain in the FS items list. Later you are going to add it in the reporting rules, and you are going to create cash flow hierarchy, you are going to create changes in equity hierarchy, comprehensive income hierarchy. So once all those hierarchies where you are going to create, what are those nodes, parents and all those stuff you have to mention in this area. It is very important because those hierarchies we are going to define, all these things we are going to discuss in the future sessions. Yeah.
So if this report only can be opened in Fiori apps, could I open this report in BW?
No, it's in, as you said, like it's in Fiori only.
Okay, so it's only Fiori. So normally do we consider this as custom report or standard since it is config?
Custom, no, it's not custom report. Actually, the rules you have to define. Yeah, everything is customizable.
Okay.
Like, so sorry, your question is whether these are customizable or standard reports are available.
Yeah, sure, alright.
Yeah, so the report master data you have to map. So for example, when I am talking about cash flow, right? So I need to identify what are the FS items and what are the movements should go to my cash flow item, correct? So
Yeah.
this identification happens in the reporting rules. So that is the configuration you have to do. So some configuration you have to do. Based on that system, there is an app which is developed by SAP, which is given by SAP. You have to select what is the reporting rule you want to check and what is the variant. Based on that, system will automatically show the cash flow. That we are going to discuss in the sessions. How the cash flow is created and how to display.
Just a quick check, Kiran. So is this reporting rule is time dependent? Give example, if I change the logic, it will applicable also for the previous year?
Yes, the hierarchies, whatever you are going to create, right? Those are time dependent hierarchies.
Time dependent.
So automatically it is applicable. So based on the key date, it will show the reporting rule.
So if I change this one, it didn't affect the last year reporting. Okay, thank you.
So security. So all the Fiori apps, right? What are the Fiori apps you want to use? You can list out. If you don't have list, that's okay. The roles, the standard roles, you can list out here, right? I shared those roles, same roles you can list out. And also, after the realization, you have to discuss with the customer, and you have to prepare roles for local accountant, for local task, and also you have to discuss and per group accountant task. Right. So these are the things you have to perform for on-premise version. So cloud version, after this, we will plan next time, or after this session, I will explain in the meeting. Right? Any questions? Right. So thank you. I am stopping the recording. Thank you.